Hey, Bulls Nation, it's your girl Queen Chill Mode coming at you guys with episode number 4 of Perimeter D as we do a Bulls Rockets recap of the game that was, as well as discuss a few other topics related to our favorite team, the Chicago Bulls. So, up first, of course, will be the recap, and we got off to a pretty good start in this one. We got player movement, ball movement, the offense wasn't stagnant. We were doing a great job of looking for the best shots. I mean, we basically were passing up good shots for the best shot or a better shot, if you will, um, in hopes of getting some points. I mean, that's the goal of the game: have more points than the other team. And we did a good job of that in the first quarter. We also did a pretty good job of exploiting the mismatches. Now, many of you know who had an opportunity to see the Rockets play, they pretty much switch everything defensively. So there are times that you'll see, the guards being the guards of Houston guarding big men of the other team. Case in point, there were a few occasions in that first quarter in which James Harden ended up on Wendell Carter Jr. And what I liked about what we were doing was we were understanding that, hey, that's a mismatch. Let's get the ball to Wendell and let him do his thing against James Harden. Um, and so he was able to go out and get a couple of points against Harden in those situations. And another thing that I thought would actually, be one of the stories of the game was that in that first quarter, the Bulls were also looking to go at James Harden. So, regardless of who he was guarding, whether it be or be it Zach LaVine or Cam Payne, those guys were looking to go at James Harden. Now, keep in mind he was coming back from a hamstring injury, and this one is his first game back since going through that injury, and for as much improvement as the Rockets made overall as a team defensively, James Harden still is not considered to be a great defensive player. I mean, he made an effort last year, but he's still a guy who can have his moments of man-of-the-door defense. And so the Bulls were wise to make it a point to try to go at him early in that first quarter. I thought it was something that the Bulls should have done all night long in terms of going at him, but it was good to see that we had a better understanding of mismatches and how to exploit them. Fast forward to the second quarter, in terms of offensively, our rookies were pretty much doing their thing for the most part. Chandler Hutchinson came off the bench again and provided a nice spark. He had two nice transition dunks and a baseline jumper. He had 6 points at the half. And Wendell Carter, he and Chandler are both starting to look more and more confident as they play more and more games. It's plain to see that the more they're playing, the more comfortable they're getting, and the more confident that they're getting as well, to where they're starting to make big plays for the Bulls and have impact, make an impact while they're out there. And the Bulls did a good job also in that second quarter of looking to get Wendell the ball. On a night like tonight where Zach LaVine pretty much struggled with his shooting, as did a lot of other guys, I thought that was a good strategy to kind of get him going in the paint, because when he got his touches, he was able to get his shots and able to knock them down. So that was a good sight to see. But that second quarter was kind of a fast-paced quarter, filled with both teams getting up and down the court. It was pretty much a seesaw affair, um, as the game went back and forth for the most part in that second quarter. There were quite a few lead changes and quite a few ties. But the story of that quarter for me was Jabari Parker. Now, as much as we tried to do to exploit James Harden, they kind of turned it on. They flipped it on us in that second quarter, because Houston's one of those teams. They're going to play their game. They're going to do what they do. And one of the things that they do very well with James Harden and Chris Paul is that If they know that there's a weak link on the opposite team defensively in terms of one-on-one defending, they will have whomever is being guarded by that guy, they'll make it a point to have that person come up and set a pick, set a screen, and then most teams usually just switch, and that's exactly what we did. We basically, whomever Jabari was guarding, that person just came up, set a pick for James Harden. Bulls would switch it off, and then that would put James Harden and Jabari Parker in a one-on-one matchup. And we all know that is not a matchup that Jabari Parker is going to win, because he's made it clear that defense is just not his thing. And James Harden is one of those players who has the ability to break the defender down, whether it be for a step back three or basket all the way at the rim, or even making plays for his teammates. So they did what I expected them to do. They did that last year in the conference finals against Golden State, and they continue that. And they'll probably continue playing in that manner as long as James Harden is in his prime. But the thing that got me was that there were very little adjustments made by the Bulls during that time. I was expecting to see, maybe not allow that, not allow that screen to happen so easily. Fight over it, fight through it, try to get through it to where you're not putting Jabari in a position where it's not going to end well for him, or at the very least, have Jabari Parker send him to the help defense, being Wendell Carter Jr. I didn't see any of that happening either when they were doing that. So going into the third quarter, I was definitely saying to myself, "Hey, we got to figure out how to stop that, because Houston's a team that's not going to go away from. They're a team that they're going to continue to do it until you stop them, and I don't blame them." But going into the second half. Houston came out and pretty much went on a 13-0 run in that third quarter, pushed the lead up to double digits. And the thing that stuck with me in that third quarter was the fact that we just went away from everything that kept us in this game to begin with. It was as if somebody turned off a switch on us or something that said, you know what, I'm tired of playing together. I'm tired of passing the ball. I'm tired of sharing. I want to get mine or whatever. I don't know what the case may have been, but we weren't. There was not a lot of player movement. There certainly was not a lot of ball movement. We literally went down the court, tried to do our isolation thing, tried to do our one-on-one thing, and that wasn't what kept us in the game. That's definitely not what got us the lead at the half. What got us the lead at the half was sharing the ball, sharing the ball. Not only sharing the ball, but just players moving in and out and ball moving. I mean, just whatever we was doing in the first half, we stopped doing in that third quarter. And that was the frustrating part about it, was that we got caught up in trying to beat Houston at Houston's game. And one of the things that will work for us, because will work for us, is if everybody is involved. We don't have, granted, I think Zach LaVine can be a player that can literally take over a game, but that's not how we want to play. That's not where we are at our best. In the few games that we have won, it's been because we've had great team efforts. And this was no different. Another part of the reason why the third quarter was memorable was because we only scored 7 points. 7 points and 7 turnovers. And then just went away from everything that we were doing well in that first half. So that was the thing that stood out with me in the third quarter. But the thing of it is that we're a young team, and we're gonna go through these growing pains. That's just plain and simple. And as a fan, it's not fun, because you want to see your team win, but you understand that the team is young and rebuilding, and there's gonna be moments where you're gonna just scratch your head as to, I'm not even sure why all of a sudden we stopped doing what was working. Us old folks, we have a saying, or a lot, not just old folks, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And for whatever reason, we fixed something that didn't need to be fixed. So hopefully this will be a great learning experience for our guys to understand that, for one, if we're going to be successful and become a winning team, it's going to be because we do it together. Um, if we're going to be successful and become a winning team, we have to understand that you just can't play 1 quarter, 2 quarters of team basketball and expect to win in this league. You're not beating anybody as an individual in an NBA game. Sure, there are going to be people who have great performances, and it may seem, yeah, this dude put the team on his back and won, but it's a team sport, and it's going to take everybody being involved, especially the team like us. We're a team that can struggle with our scoring, and tonight would have been a great night to just throw that ball inside to Wendell and allow him to get double teamed. And he's a phenomenal passer. So it's not like the dude is selfish. You'd have probably got it back and got the shot that you was really looking for. But like I said, it's going to be, we're going to go through our growing pains, and this definitely will be a learning experience that hopefully we can take into the next game and put together a full 48 minutes of excellent team basketball. But fast forward to the fourth quarter, the Bulls got fought back, and I definitely admire them for that. We got Houston into the penalty early in that fourth quarter. Um, and so we started getting aggressive going to the basket, which resulted in the Bulls going to the free throw line quite a bit in that fourth quarter. And as a result, we was actually able to cut the lead to 6 points at one point. But, you know, the youthfulness of our team reared its ugly head as we made some mistakes down the stretch that ultimately, allowed Houston to hold on for the 96-88 victory. Um, so, tonight's game was, I know, you don't want to have moral victories because you want to see your team win, but at the same time, I'm trying to remain positive as a longtime Bulls fan. Um, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be a Bulls fan, but at the same time, you know, you kind of just you kind of want to see them win, because I think the best teacher of winning is winning, not more victories. So, um, but it didn't work out in our favor tonight. Um, but again, like I said, hopefully this we talk we'll take some of the lessons learned in this game and apply them to the next game, and hopefully get a victory. So tonight, we had our young bucks, our rookies. Wendell and Chandler were pretty solid. Zach, finished with 21 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists, but he kind of struggled from the field tonight, from only shooting about 4 of 16 um, overall. And Jabari had 15 points, 3 rebounds. Chandler finished with 12 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and Wendell 14 points, 13 rebounds, 2 steals, and 4 blocks. So he put together a solid game and starting to get the starting to finish with double doubles. I think that's like his third one or so in as many days or as many games. So he's definitely starting to look the part of a solid player. But aside from the recap, I want to get into another topic. Um, the point guard play. One of the things I want to know is, should Fred Hoiberg be playing Shaq Harrison a little bit more? Because initially when Chris Dunn went down, Cameron Payne had 2 pretty good back-to-back games. I think he had 21 one night and 15 one night. In that 21-point game, I think that was the one where he had 7 threes, if I'm not mistaken. And he looked pretty good, but then, you know, the thing that's been the issue for Cameron Payne his entire career, inconsistency, has kind of started to rear its ugly head again, and in which, he's had some games where he's looked good scoring. He's looked good in terms of getting the team into his offensive set, getting the ball inside to the big men for dunks and layups and things of that nature. He's had games where he's taken care of the basketball and had limited turnovers. But then he's had games where he struggled from the field. He struggled to get the team going. He struggled to take care of the basketball. And my question is, should we be playing Shaq Harrison more? I mean, I'm not sure why the commitment to campaign is there to the point where, regardless of what he does, he's going to get his minutes. I mean, I'm certainly not putting anything on him because, like I said, it is a team sport. But our team is deprived of good defense, and when we got a player on our team who can be a defensive presence, who's a feisty defender, one of those guys that's pesky. I'm not saying he's Patrick Beverly type. I'm not saying he's Patrick Beverly, but he's one of those kind of guys that can get under your skin in terms of how hard he goes at you defensively. In terms of him just being energized, just being a guy who gets energetic about playing defense. He'll pick you up full court to try to disrupt the offensive flow, and he's a combo guard, so you can play him at the two guard position from time to time. So hopefully, as we move along into the schedule, we'll start to see him get a little bit more playing time, as well as maybe even Ryan. I mean, Ryan has been pretty solid in some nights. He's had some moments where he struggled. I think both he and Cam, didn't have as big as an impact as they had in some of the games in which they played their best earlier in the season. Tonight, so much so that Zach LaVine, I think, was running the point by the time the fourth quarter rolled around. I don't even think we had a point guard in there at all. So, I just wanted to throw that question out to you guys to see if that's something that I'm the only one that's noticed. I mean, you bring a guy in who's solid defender, who can get out in the open court, who can disrupt the other team's offense and help your team get out and get easy baskets in transition, but yet you don't play him. And I get he's new to the team, and he may not know every single play in the playbook, but you know, it's the NBA. We're not talking brain surgery or rocket science here. I mean, when all else fails, run the pick and roll. I mean, that seems to be the main thing everybody runs anyway. I mean, I'm not even saying put him in the starting lineup or anything like that. I'm just saying look to give him a few minutes here and there to try to make an impact on the team, especially on a night like tonight when we were struggling defending. Um, that is definitely something that we could have looked to throw him in, especially in that second quarter. Um, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure why you add a guy to the team that you don't play, even when you see when players in front of him are struggling right now. Um, you know, you didn't have a problem taking Jabari out of the lineup when he was struggling. I'm not understanding why it should be a big issue this time around. But that's all I have for tonight, guys. Next game, the Bulls will be taking on the New York Knicks in New York on Monday night. Again, as always, thanks for your support. God bless you, and good night.